Hello, beautiful people. I know it's been a minute or two, but I am so delighted that you are joining me. This is going to be a long ride. So get in a comfy chair, grab a cup of coffee or perhaps a glass of wine, and let's have a little bit of fun. So I'm trying something new with this particular layout. And I hope you enjoy my kind of different creative strategy this week. So, first up, what I've decided to do is use smaller photographs. Normally, when I print my photos, I print them either large as 4x6s, or I go small and print them as a 3x4, or just slightly trimmed down from 3x4. This week, I've used the Collect app, and I have created, therefore, smaller images, smaller photographs, and also attach the journaling to the image as well. I've done that because what I want to do is play around with creating lots more layer and texture on each individual 3x4 card. So here we go. You see, I've already kind of started playing around a bit before I actually turned on the record. And my first photo is an image of my son at the library, chatting it up with the librarian. And he's really interested in manga books. And so believe it or not, she's a manga reader. And so they had this fascinating conversation. And I whipped out my phone to kind of just capture the moment. So in this particular case, I've decided, or I will decide in a moment, that I don't actually want to include the journaling. You see, I'm trimming it down right there from the Collect app. I haven't determined that perfectly just yet. I'm trying to decide if I want to actually place the journaling on the side of the photo rather than down below as it originally appeared. But what I've also done is use one of the Allie Edwards little white cards, and they come with a bit of silver etching around the side. And so first I'm going to place a printable label down, slightly green, and then I'm going to place that Allie Edwards card on top. And again, my whole goal with this particular layout is to create little layered cards. And so now I've got that card and the label creating a bit of interest. And then I'm going to place the photo on top. Before I do that, I've got this little plastic, I'll call it a paper clip. There may be a cuter name for it. And so I want to use that little blue clip. The bottom part of the clip makes it a little bit bulky, so I trim that off and then use my tiny attacher to adhere the clip to the photograph. So at this point, I think I'm pretty good to go, and I'm going to go ahead and stick that photo down on the Allie Edwards card. I adhere it slightly to the right so that I can place that bit of journaling right to the left. But in the end, I decide I don't like the way that journaling looks, and believe it or not, I pull out some stamps. So I'm going to use this little stamp phrase that says an ordinary day. So, I don't very often stamp. It's something I always say I'm going to do better with, and it's just something I don't do very often. But I really had a good time with this particular spread, playing around with doing a few things that are a little out of the box, a little non-traditional for me. And so the last touch, I went on and stuck a little green star on that page, chipboard star on that little 3x4 card. So now I'm going to move on to my second 3x4 card. And again, I trim off the journaling. This is a photo of the family sitting on the boardwalk. We went camping with a whole big crew of friends and family, 30 plus folk. I think we actually hit over 40. And so someone took a quick photo of us. So before I could finish up on that blue 3x4 card, I ended up going back to the original 3x4 card and just sticking in this sliver of silver. It's a little silver label, I guess. And I like that additional touch of silver on that card. And so I just slipped that right in there. And I think it nicely accompanies the silver on the Allie Edwards card. So I'm sorry my camera went out for a moment. So that blue card that says itinerary, I was playing around a bit with whether I was going to spell out boardwalk. I don't in the end. You see I have a little tag that I've included, a couple of words, and layered on that blue itinerary card. And I'm going to add a little cork plus sign and call that 3x4 card complete. Okay, so 2 down at this point. So I didn't note in the very beginning that this particular spread took me just over 4 hours to create. I know, a long time. I had a total blast doing it. In part, I was watching TV and taking my time and not really minding the fact that I was recording. But what that meant for me in terms of uploading this is that it's really, really long. And so I did struggle to kind of edit this video to a decently short length. In the end, I think it's like 32 minutes. And I'm going to try to split it in half, part 1, part 2 for you. So sorry for the length, but I was having so much fun. I was not minding the clock at all. Okay. So you see I have that black and white photo down at the bottom with a bunch of friends just hanging out on the boardwalk. And, I like to play around with using both black and white and color photographs together. I like the balance. So now I'm going to move on to my third 3x4 card. And this one I'm going to keep really simple. I think the pink and the orange are bold and pop. So I wanted to use some dimensional adhesive, but it had too much dimension, and so instead I just cut a little bit of cork and I placed that on the back to give just a little bit of pop to that orange circle embellishment. And now I'm going to also add a bit of yellow twine. So that yellow twine is just going to kind of tack it at the bottom and then just kind of wrap it around the orange circle. I've done this a couple of times before. I love the light addition of color and kind of the texture that it can add to a card. So voila, we're done. Moving right along. Okay, so you might notice in this next photograph that I am playing around with, I am in a hospital gown. Yep. So I think I've mentioned before, I'm a worrier. I've always been a worrier, and that's never really caused any health problems. But I have some big decisions ahead of me professionally. And so I think unconsciously, I was really worrying about them to the point that it was causing a lot of anxiety. And so I had an anxiety attack, and I didn't know what it was. It felt like an elephant was sitting on my chest. And my husband told me to go immediately to the ER. Things were looking a little irregular when they checked me in, so they ended up keeping me overnight. In the end, I'm fine, working with my doctor, probably going to take some meds in the short term just to make sure I'm good to go. And then it's just about finding ways to be healthy and to relax and to be conscious of not only what my body physically is feeling, but also emotionally and psychologically. So, all that said, I took a selfie in the hospital. And now, obviously, I'm going to journal about it in addition to including the photograph. So I'm going to go with this today 3x4 card and using another printable label, and you also see that craft and silver collection of labels. So I included that on one of the other 3x4 cards, and I'm going to include some more of those craft silver labels on this card as well. Again, when possible, kind of dispersing the silver throughout the entire layout for this week. So because the today card is just kind of a neutral color, I thought that it would work really well to add a pop of green. And I don't very often use these green letter stickers that come from the Studio Calico and the Allie Edwards monthly kits. Not that I'm hoarding them. My go-to tends to be black letters just because it goes with, absolutely everything. It's like the little black dress. So I always have to push myself a bit to include the colorful letters, but I think that the green really, really worked well. And it's just another reminder to me that it is important to kind of stretch myself a bit creatively and use embellishments products or different types of techniques that may not be my go-to but can be really fun to utilize when creating a spread. So I think that particular card is almost done. I might add one or two more things. I think I'm searching right now to see what else I might want to layer on that particular card. There you go. So I find a little tab. I think that's old, just a random little kind of collection of embellishments. I'm not sure who the manufacturer was. And then I do two little staples sideways. I do like doing that when possible. Oh, and then I'm going to add a yellow chipboard star there. Again, pulling in that yellow from the twine that's in the next 3x4 card to the right. And I knew right off the bat when I began this layout that I was going to have to add an insert for additional space for both journaling and photographs. Again, as I mentioned, this 4th of July weekend. We went out of town with a big group of family and friends to go camping. We usually camp twice every summer, so this was our first camping trip of the summer. That card, The Great Outdoors, when I saw it come in the monthly kit, I think that is Studio Calico. Maybe it's Ali Edwards. I knew that I would use it for a camping layout, and it pairs perfectly, I think, at least, with the photo of our family tent. We've had this tent for several years now, I think about 4 or so, and we think it's really uber cool because there's this center kind of family area, if you will, and then you can buy additional pods. And so we have 3 pods, 1 pod for each boy, and then my husband and I share a pod. So it's really been perfect for our family with, teenagers, almost teenager boys who are big. And so it's held up in storms and cold weather. And I wanted to take a photo of the tent and kind of include that in the layout for this week. So again, I am pulling out one of the Studio Calico printable labels, and then this particular time I'm actually going to keep the journaling that comes with the photograph from the Collect app. While I was looking for some embellishments for the tent card, I saw a perfect little embellishment for the photo with my son at the library. That little chipboard piece is from the Ali Edwards Read Stories kit. So switched over there, then switching back. Now I'm just going to adhere the tent photograph down to the card and allow the Studio Calico printable label just to peek out from below. And I'm going to add a little chipboard hashtag saying, or phrase, I suppose, that says just saying. And then some other chipboard pieces, I think Made to Last. That's from Ali Edwards. And that's pretty much together, just a few staples. Going to add a little plastic embellishment to the Great Outdoors card. And we're good to go. So in some cases, I'm doing just kind of light layering of various embellishments and some a little bit more. But I have to tell you, I really enjoyed having the smaller photograph, and that gave me a lot more flexibility and space just to have some fun and to use some products, again, that I might not normally incorporate the same way. So this process is moving right along, although again, it took me nearly 4.5 hours. That Wild and Free card is definitely from Ali Edwards, and so I'm thinking that will be nice with this kind of campy themed layout. I've got several photos of my boys and some of our friends, and so I'm trying to decide the order and the cards that I want to include with each photograph. So next up, I'm going to play around with this photo of us preparing breakfast in the rain on Sunday morning. It was unseasonably chilly, like 70 something degrees in the morning when we woke up. At first it was drizzling, so we were able to get the campfire started, but then it actually started to just pour on us. But we were fearless campers, and just continued to make pancakes and our veggie links, since we don't eat meat. And then people had bacon, and we just went to town, and everybody kept such a wonderful positive spirit and energy. It's why I love camping with my friends. And we had a blast despite the rainy weather. So this particular card is kind of capturing that. The card says, "Today was wild." And so you see, in this particular case, I'm actually layering two of the printable labels on top of each other in addition to a craft tag. So I'm just trying to get the placement right so that the tag actually fits on the white card. So I'm going to bump that up just a little bit. And we're good to go. Going to round those corners. And I want to find a phrase or two or something just to complete this 3x4 card. I end up going to my standby Tim Holtz, and I find a little sentiment. What does that say? Look on the bright side. And now I'm going to move over to the next 3x4 card. This image is of me at the boardwalk at the beach. They have all these, carnival rides and such. Oh, I'm going to stick a little card, another embellishment on that card. And it says, "Storms don't last forever." Perfect sentiment, obviously, for that photograph. All right. So the bungee ball thingy, decided to do the big bungee, this ball, and they throw it up in the air. It's attached to these bungee cord things, and it plummets, to earth or whatever. So I was in the mood to just be fearless and have fun. I was feeling so relaxed and at peace. And so one of the folks down on the ground captured me getting into this little bungee ball contraption. So in this particular case, I'm going to keep this card fairly simple. There's a grid card, and I've got the photograph and that little black and white kind of plastic embellishment that says that was rad, and then another little embellishment that says morning adventures, and that's it for that one. So I'm going to flip back over to the left side of the spread using a really simple white card that says, "From where I stand." Going to put a little chipboard heart there with pink, which I think pulls in the pink from the pink card above. And what I'm trying to do at this point is to balance the cards that are busy with photographs and layers of embellishment, to balance that with more kind of simplistic cards that don't have as much color, so that the layout is not kind of overwhelmed and your eye doesn't have a soft place to kind of land. Okay, so now I'm going to move on, and I think I've only got a few more cards left to go. This card down on the left, I'm going to keep really simple. This is like a little transparency plastic circle, and I thought it kind of nicely mirrors the circle, the great outdoors above. And again, it's kind of light and neutral, and the constellations I thought very fitting with the camp themed layout. And that's done. Okay. So only a few more to go at this point. Just thumbing through, looking for a card with the right phrase to kind of pair with that photo of me in the hospital. I finally found something that I think will work. It's a very old card, Perfectly Imperfect, from Studio Calico, maybe up to a year old. And I didn't want to use the whole pink card because I thought the layout had enough pink going on. So I trimmed off the bottom and just kind of left it white, or placed the pink on top of a white card. And so I thought that balance of having that bit of white was helpful. And I think that card, I'm looking for something else to do. Oh, I know what I'm going to add to it. Wait, you're not going to believe what I'm going to add. Hold on. Brace yourself. I'm not going to do it yet. Oh, I'm still looking. I'm looking for other cards. I'm trying to figure out what am I going to do next. A bowl of washi tape. Yep, I pull out washi tape. Again, it's like stamping. It's one of those things that I have, but I don't use all the time. And that washi tape is definitely old. So it's from like a Christmas collection, I think. So I use just a little thin strip of the washi tape, 4 diagonal staples, and the card is done. I actually love the simplicity of that one and how it turned out. Totally unexpected. Okay, so now I'm trying to determine what's gonna happen with this card on the right. I'm digging the kind of the typology of those words. What is that? Faves, awesome, really cool, but not sure it's working with the entire layout. I tried that Sunday card, but the creaminess is not right. I need a stark white kind of background. So I'm just going to leave that awesome faves card there and see if I'm inspired. So at this point, I'm going to transition over to work with these 2 photos of my boys. Because the weather was so chilly on Sunday, we didn't end up camping out at the beach like we planned. And although we were bummed, we had an awesome time on the boardwalk eating tons of fried food. And the boys did splash with their friends in the water a bit, kind of, up to their knees. So I took 2 photos of them at the beach in the water, but, it's a head-up shot, so you really can't tell. But they had a wonderful time. So again, I'm going to pull out one of these Allie Edwards white cards with the silver trimming. At least I think I am, or maybe not. I was playing with it, and then I changed my mind. And I'm going to use washi tape again 2 times. I'm on a roll, my friends. And this washi tape, I've had it for a minute. It's really, really cool. And it has like little typed words in different sections of the tape. And the section that I've used here says memory. So cool, that works. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to use this white tag and layer that. I decide instead to use this silver tag under the photograph of my eldest son. I don't need to use the entire tag, so I'm going to trim that off. And then just trying to get the placement just so. I feel like there's a little bit of empty space there. And so I pull out another printable label. I'm going to staple that to the 3x4 card, staple the silver tag, or adhere the silver tag, and then I'm pretty good to go. I'm just going to adhere the photograph down. Okay, so I'm thinking that I want to add a little bit, a phrase, a word, or something. I end up going with beach. And again, I'm going to go to these green letters, a wonderful way to pull the green into another side of the spread. Since the first time I used it's on the left side, now I'm incorporating it on the right side of the layout. And it's difficult to tell that he's actually standing at the beach. So I thought kind of saying that, beach, makes sense. And go figure, I'm using washi tape a 3rd time. Twice on 1 card. And this is some older tape too. It has the days of the week. And so I just used a little bit that says Sunday today. Okay, need to add some more staples to my tiny attacher, and voila, it's ready to go in the pocket. Now, I'm not sure if you noticed, but the first here, I'm gonna trim it right now. There it is. Bam. So the first insert had 4 pockets. I didn't need 4 pockets, but I needed a little bit more space. So the second insert, rather than having 4 pockets, I trim it down and I only have 2. So keep that in mind. If you decide to include an insert, you can trim something down or modify your protectors in a way that's suitable for you and what you need that particular week. Okay, and I'm going to add 3 little green stars. Again, knowing that I've got spots of green already incorporated, I want to add just a little tad more. That gives me like 3 elements of green on the spread. And this time I am going to use just a bit of dimensional tape, but I'm going to trim it so that it's thin. And then I'm just going to pop up that Tim Holtz sentiment. What does that say? Let me see. It says, remember the now. And that photo is just my my best friend's daughter and my son. They're like sister and brother, best buds, and just kind of captured them hanging out on the boardwalk. All right, and now I've got my little guy. And you'll see the back side, kind of the B side of that card, had a lot of white. And so I think, oh, I don't want that. I'm going to use the busier side of the card. I really like the geometric shapes, and the pink I think really works with the spread. And so I go with the kind of full patterned side of the 3x4 card. I pull out one of these Allie Edwards cards that I want to include because I do want to add a little bit more kind of white space to the card itself. So I trimmed down the photo, opting not to include the journaling. Then going to adhere that down to the card, and then the card to the 3x4 patterned card. Okay. I decide that it needs a little bit of something. So a little silver heart and then a little wood veneer heart layered right on top. At first I tried to use a little bit of liquid adhesive glue. That didn't work. I don't know why. I think there was some waxy film on the top of the silver heart, and so you'll see I have to circle back around and actually staple it in a moment. Not a big problem. All right, I am trying to fiddle a bit with this card. I feel like it wants something else, but I'm not sure what it needs. All right, here I go. And I'm going to put it down, and then I'm going to have to come back and staple it in just a second or two. All right, trying to kind of get myself together, put some things away so I can see what the heck I'm doing. Looking at potential labels. Went to my green bowl of labels, my green bowl of labels. Now checking out the blue bowl of labels. Decide I like that. Trimming that down. I just want to see a smidge of that color on the bottom. Now looking for a phrase. There we go. And the phrase is, embrace beautiful chaos. My little guy, he's just a fascinating kid. He loves the idea of chaos, and chaos being like just awesome to him. So anyway, that sentiment's perfect. And that old 3x4 card just stuck a little shiny heart on that ice cream cone. Done. Not going to do anything else to it. All right, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and move a few things around. That heart didn't stick. There we go. Okay. A couple other things happened. You see I put a heart on that black and white 4x6 photo. I also popped a black and white flare on that other 3x4 card on the right. Now I'm going to journal. And again, this is 4.5 hours, so I had to cut some bits and pieces out. So I'm sorry if you're wondering, like, well, when did that heart get on that black and white photo? All right. So when I journaled, I was trying to create this diagonal kind of journaling so I could go in with some pattern paper. So that's what I'm trying to do now. But it didn't turn out right. It's really hard to kind of control the structure or the shape of your journaling when you're doing it with the typewriter. So first, before I go back to the journaling card, I end up cutting off the top of that geometric card and leaving the white space, which is exactly what I had on the B side. Okay, so hated that 4x6 card. So I rip off the initial pattern paper and then try again with this navy blue and white pattern paper. Much better, but I don't love it enough for it to kind of be out in the open, if you will. So I end up putting a tab on the top of it and then just stacking the two journaling cards on top of each other, and they go in the same pocket together. So it was a total oops on my part, but I fixed it by just hiding I didn't want to retype the journaling. If I created the journal in my computer, I could have fussed with it and reprinted it. But since I created on the typewriter, it was what it was. And given that I'd been like 4 hours into this, I didn't want to recreate it. So came up with the alternative, a solution. So I also use that chipboard, and I just use a little bit of black StazOn ink to dye it black, if you will. I suppose I could have found a sticker ampersand, but I decided to do that instead. And then that says make more messes and camp. So I was going to have 2 journaling cards at the bottom in the 2 4x6 sections. But since I layered the 2 journaling cards together, I needed to put something in that other 4x6 slot. So I created that make more messes and camp card as an alternative. Okay. So now just need to finish up with my title card. And I'm going to try to spell out the whole word week rather than just do WK. But y'all know me. I have a thing for not using those E's. It just seems wasteful. I don't know what my problem is. So I'm going to pull out one of those Allie Edwards cards with the silver. And that other it's like a little label that came in the Allie Edwards kits as well. And it says doing. And they all say doing, loving, that kind of thing. So I'm using the label that says doing. Going to put a little bit of that, not chipboard, the cork behind it to give it a slight bit of pop, and then place the WK almost nested right up underneath it. So just a little bit of kind of dimension when you look at the card, and then using the small yellow numbers 26, again pulling in the yellow from some of the other embellishments used throughout the layout. And all I need to do at this point, just add the days of the week. Bam. And bam. Good to go. And that, I think, my friends, is it. Thank you so much for hanging in with me. I cannot tell you how much fun I had taking my time and enjoying every step of this creative journey this week. It was lots of fun, just what the doctor ordered. So please take care of yourselves. Find the opportunity, the time to maybe stretch your creative limbs a bit, and maybe use a technique or strategy that's not your go-to. You just might discover that the experience is magical. Lots of love and hugs to you all. Be well, be safe, be kind. Bye until next time.